What is up? We are going to be going through a full body workout, specifically targeting some explosiveness and power development in our legs, utilizing some complexes. So a complex is simply just, think of it as like a big superset. But typically when I'm creating a complex, I want to make sure that they're targeting similar movement patterns, muscles, and we're working through a few points on what's known as a force velocity curve. So we're starting out here, I believe this is my second or third set when I'm doing some hang power cleans. So we really like the hang power cleans because of the eccentric to concentric portion of the posterior chain. So after that, we're going into some depth to broad jumps. So I like the depth to broad jumps because when you're going down, you have an acceleration down. So you have to overcome a greater force absorption before getting out and going into that jump. So it makes it a little bit harder, stresses the tendons a little bit more. And all of this we're going for is some horizontal force production with these plyometrics. So the hang power clean, right? There's big hips coming through, and then with the depth to broad jump and then the box broad jump, we're really emphasizing that horizontal, getting that hip through to be powerful with our hips. Now we're going into a little bit heavier set. Don't do what I did there and split your feet. What it wants to look like it is actually this right here. So when we're dropping down into that clean, we want to pull ourselves under. Our feet can go a little wide, but just not as wide as mine did on the first portion. Then we're going back into depth to broad jumps, trying to go as far as you can, trying to minimize how long it takes you to transition from the landing and then into that broad jump. So we're trying to work on decreasing that ground contact time and increasing our rate of force development, how quickly we can get into that broad jump. So anytime we're doing power training, we typically want to keep the reps pretty low and have some rest in between. So for these, if you can go back and look at the sets and reps, but I'll do all those three together, and then at the end I'll take like a 3 to 5 minute rest before going back into the next set, because we want our central nervous system to recover and to be fully ready to express the most amount of power that we absolutely can. So this is our posterior chain and foot emphasis on the hips. And then we're going to be going into our upper body. So with our upper body for today, we're doing a contrast set. We use some wave loading. So you can see it's 753. All that means is that we're choosing a weight that we can probably have 1 to 2 left in the tank. And then our next set, we're going heavier and then heavier as the reps decrease to maximize the mechanical tension. When we're doing this, we're doing a contrast set. So this is inside of our peak performance program. This is one of the workouts that's in there. That was my second set. This is my third, my heaviest set for 315 for 3. I do not know why my legs shake like that. It's probably because my ass is lifting off of the bench a little bit there, but something to work on. So why we're using a contrast set, so a heavy movement into an explosive power-based movement is because we get to take advantage of something called post-activation potentiation. And all that really means is that during our secondary power-based movements, we have a greater stimulus or a greater kind of drive that our body will then express power with that. So splitting it up, we did the lower, the hang power cleans, broad jumps, and then into upper, and then now back down to lower so we can give our legs a little bit of a break. So while the first one was posterior chain and more hip dominant, now we're going to be targeting the quads a little bit more, more of a squat pattern and more vertical force production. And I was supposed to do these banded assisted vertical jumps to get a little overspeed work, but that band was super sketchy, and as I was pulling it down, it looked like it was going to rip. So I did a few reps, and then I could not risk it. I saw it literally ripping as I was going. So what I ended up doing was just going for a max height vertical jump. I personally like a vertical jump where you have to touch something. There's a little bit more of a challenge to it that you kind of like, there's that competition of trying to reach it, so you'll increase your performance a little bit. So these are trap bar jumps. These are freaking awesome, especially if you are not the best at Olympic lifting variations. You can get a great power stimulus for that. So that was our lower body complex trap bar jumps. and then into the max vertical jumps with that. Now we're going to be taking care of a little bit of our upper body, so some accessory work, so YTWs, and then into chin-ups. So 3 sets of 5 for the chin-ups. If you can add a weight, go for it. So you can throw a dumbbell in between your legs or have a belt where you can hang some weight. So you're gonna go Ys for the Ys, TWs, Ts, right, coming out to the side. Thumbs up on these, and then we finish with a W. So these are great for shoulder health overall. And we're just finishing out the entire workout. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and join me in the Peak Performance program.